Hey everyone, welcome back to the Data Pour. I'm Steve McLaughlin, head of data at Epon Technologies. I'm here today at 4-5 Coffee Roasters, and my guest is Dr. Nell Meshcheryakov, an expert in AI, ethics, and privacy. Thank you for joining me.
So good
Shall
to
we get
see
some
you.
coffee?
Yeah.
All right, so can you tell me a little bit about your current role and what you're up to these days?
Yeah. So I am Senior Director of Product at my company.
Okay,
I also run the AI COE, so
very cool.
data and all of that is day to day in my
Yeah,
life.
that's awesome. And you've been doing that for a couple of years, and I know you're very interested in it. In fact, we're here in DC right now because you're at a conference, and you graciously allowed us a couple of minutes of your time to come and interview. Tell me about the conference you're at right now.
Yeah, it's the IAPP conference, so it's on data privacy,
Right.
and it is all about AI.
Sure.
Every single AI governance, AI data, every single speaker has focused on data protection, data privacy. It's all over the place here.
Right, right. What are some big takeaways? Have you had any big aha moments, or is it more like confirming things you believe? Sometimes you just need that validation. Or has there been something that you're like, whoa, mind blown?
Um, the most interesting piece for me was yesterday we had a sort of like the keynote speaker, and it was Lawrence Lessig, who
I don't know
wrote
who
a
that is.
book. It's called, I think it's called like Code Data or something like that, something to that effect. And he was talking about how he's a Harvard professor, and data is really influenced by a lot of different things, and it's shifted over the years. We think about data privacy and individual rights being influenced by laws surrounding sort
Sure.
of that space, but actually it's mostly the businesses, in his view, that shape the ecosystem by which we data govern. And another one
That's
of his
interesting.
key points that I thought was really interesting is we've created this ecosystem where individual rights are really important. And you have laws like GDPR,
Sure.
which force companies obviously to disclose what data that they're using and sharing. But one of the nuances that he had that I thought was very novel was he said it's actually, it seems like it's helping, but actually people don't ever read those and they're
Sure.
written in a way that aren't,
That's true.
isn't approachable. So
They're like
people
end
just,
user license agreements. You're like, yeah, sure, I accept.
yeah, consent.
Nobody's read it. Yeah.
Nobody has. Yeah.
Interesting.
So he actually thinks it's, it's not actually doing the service that
Oh,
it should be.
that's disappointing. that
Yeah,
that kind of sucks.
I
'Cause,
know.
GDPR, like directionally, you're like, yeah, this is good. Right to be forgotten, right to know how your data is being used. But that's kind of a bummer.
I know. I know. I thought the same thing, but I just thought so many people are focused on like, oh, individual rights. Let's make sure people know about their data. But his focus was that it's a bigger issue, and you have to sort of educate people as a whole, and it
Yes.
has to sort of be. He has this chart that's like market, law, and there's two other people, the public, and I forget what the fourth pillar
That's
is, but they
interesting.
all work hand in hand and at different points in
Sure, that makes sense.
data's evolution. Each one has kind of fed off the other differently.
Yeah, that's interesting. Do you think that in general the public's data literacy is on the rise?
Um, I do. I think it is, but I think it's largely because we've in the last 13 years, over 1 billion people have iPhones. We have
Sure,
data in our pockets.
that's true.
100 years ago, or 50 years ago, people didn't know about, what
Right.
data was and how people were collecting it 20 years ago. But I feel like because you have all of these sources of data in your pocket now, and then with the invention of generative AI, that's become really prevalent. Um, Everybody, it's just so much more,
Yeah.
so much more out there.
Right.
But it's hard too, because when I talk to people about this subject, it falls into two categories. Innovate. AI is awesome. Let's do it. Let's do
Sure.
everything with AI. Or the second category, Terminator, AI is
Yes.
going to kill us
Everything's
all.
horrible. Yeah. Sure.
So I think that we have to bridge that gap, and there has to be more literacy in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I love though. You're right. People come into contact with data in a much more visceral way now than ever before.
Yeah.
So I think that's helping the case for data management, because it's now easier, like there's easier anecdotes for people to understand why it's important. Like when I started in data management 15 or so years ago, it was so hard to sell it. And I think it still is in many ways. Like, so I get to see kind of different organizations at different points in their journey as a consultant, and by and large the biggest problem is the cultural, like people don't understand why this is important. I have to put an ROI on it. It's really challenging. But as generative AI and data has become so mainstream for people, I feel like that is getting easier, and I'm like, there is a still more glorious dawn awaits. It's just Carl Sagan, I've quoted a couple times on here before, but
Yeah, yeah. I data literacy is definitely important, and the companies that took it seriously 10 or 15 years ago are in a much better
yes,
space than
that's right.
companies that are just now like, oh, you know what? We have all this data. It's very unstructured. We don't have data lakes. Like,
Right.
it's not organized. We
Right.
don't have any mapping. None of our vendors are classified. Like, it's
That's so right. And yeah, the best time to start carrying and managing, governing your data was 15 years ago. The second best time is today. Yeah,
yeah. I agree.
right. Let's take a quick second, talk about the coffee we're having. We're here at 4-5 Coffee Roasters, which you recommended. I don't know anything about it, but you're a fan. Tell me about it. What do you know about them?
So I don't know a ton, except for it is outside of the train station in Alexandria
Okay.
that I come to all the time, and they have the best
I love that
matcha.
train station, by the way. The Alexandria one that's
Yes.
like all brick, and yeah, it's beautiful.
Beautiful, the
Yeah.
inside of
Yeah,
it.
it really is. It's
I'm
nice.
I'm a big train person,
Yeah, same.
so it's good. But I believe they're out of New York City.
Okay.
And I like they make their own coffee and sell
Right.
it. So if you're interested, you can go
Yeah.
buy some beans after.
Oh, so I was telling you just before we got started, I have not had coffee in months. I actually quit coffee in September of last year. And so I actually got one. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just see where it takes me. So if I'm flying to the moon in a few minutes, just cut me off, or put me out of my misery or something. But this is very delicious, especially for having not had coffee in a while. My body's like, oh yeah, there's the good stuff again.
You'll be power walking back to your car.
I'm gonna be bouncing off the walls today.
It's beautiful weather to have some energy.
That's right, it really is. Tell me about your dissertation. We were talking about that a little bit before we started recording. Tell our viewers what you wrote, because it's very interesting.
Yeah, so I was on the cusp of my dissertation journey when I got really interested in AI, and I believe it was around 2017. It started to be approachable. Like, you could really kind of build chatbots. Like, Google had a product, a whole bunch of others had products that you could kind of with a little bit of technical awareness, build, sort of approachable chatbots with a lot of intents and those kind of things. So I kind of delved into that. Meanwhile, I was doing this doctoral program in business, and I started to think about the intersection between machine learning and business, and got really passionate about data and bias, actually.
Yes.
So my dissertation, I started writing it in 2018, and it's all about bias in machine learning and the call for regulation.
Right.
It seems like, if we're talking 2017, I published that dissertation in 2020. It seems like years ago, and AI has really developed.
Yeah, the last 5 years has been a million years in AI.
I know.
It looks nothing like it used to. Yeah.
It's insane. I remember, I went to a conference in 2017, and it was me and 100 other super niched data dorks, and we were all at this conference talking about machine learning, all geeking out. And now you go to these conferences and it's thousands of people talking about
right.
AI.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
absolutely blown up.
really blown up. But my dissertation is all about, you know, one of the things that I talked about was that data is currency, and data will be currency of the future. And who has the data is going to be sort of who has the power in these giant systems that feed off of data.
Yeah.
And we have to act ethically and responsibly when it comes to AI.
Right.
I put forth a couple of different methodologies by which to do that in my dissertation, but the focus was actually a call for governance. So it was really kind of the call for the need of more legislation and more sort of awareness over the negative impacts of what happens when we don't
Sure.
govern and protect
Right.
data, the people who are, the end sort of people who are impacted by these decisions.
Which is such a needed part of governance, because you have to have the carrot, like what's in it for me, why should we do this, what's the benefit, but there's also the stick, which is there's some real horrible situations that can happen, and they do,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I mean, like before 2016, we didn't even know that computer systems like machine learning algorithms could be biased,
Right.
like based off of data. So,
Right.
it's kind of a new concept to think about computers as having what was thought of as a very human trait.
Sure.
But we have to remember that these systems are trained on human data, which is
Right.
by
Inherently
definition
biased, right?
biased.
And in many ways, they utilize bias to find trends, but there's bias and then there's bias, right? Like capital B and lowercase b or something. We're like, yeah, they're looking for a bias in the data, but not the kind of bias that harms people, like the kind of things that is patterns, right? So they're designed to do that. It's
Yeah.
what they do.
They're really great at it, and that's sort of like the real the real potential for harm, right? I mean, it's potential for really good, and it helps out a ton, but also there's this other side of it where, like, to us, if we exclude data, we think we're fine. Like, you exclude race, you exclude sex, you're good.
Sure.
Your data set doesn't even have that. You're not even training the model on it, so
Right.
it's not going to come up as a problem. Well, it can creep into zip code. It can creep
course.
into so many
Absolutely.
other pieces of data that are relative to that
Yeah.
that you wouldn't directly know. And so we have to just be really careful with
Yeah.
these systems.
How do you think this has progressed? Do you think it's gotten better since you started in 2017? Do you think it's gotten worse? What's the state of the world right now?
Well, we've had a bit of traction. As you guys, as you know, probably the EU Act, of course, everybody sort of knows about that. And then we have a Colorado law that's coming out in 2026 that's relatively progressive and talking about how to, mitigate sort of bias and in AI systems. But I think we've got so much work to do. And there's two sort of concepts that are really key to this, and you can talk about the before, the middle, and the after, right? When you're training your models, or when you're training your systems, your AI systems, and when you're like kind of tweaking them, the training session, sort of when you're actually looking at the outputs, and then when you actually deploy, and sort of that life cycle. But really and truly, bias and issues with data can creep in at any point. So
Right.
it's not just, oh yeah, it doesn't have bias today.
Sure. Right.
You've got to keep on looking at it. But I think it's a problem that's not going away. And while we have gotten more awareness around AI,
Right.
I think that there's definitely more that we need to do to protect people and their data, and humans in the loop, and all the things.
Sure. Well, there's more awareness, but there's also more accessibility.
Yeah.
And with accessibility, it lowers the bar of expertise required.
Yeah.
And lower expertise means less awareness. So yeah, it's really a double-edged sword in so many ways. Like so many great technologies, right? It can be used for absolute good, and it can be used for absolute evil.
Yeah.
Sometimes without trying, without
Well,
intending.
You might have noticed, I don't know if this is just me, but the amount of scams that have happened since this technology has been more readily available, which makes it more convincing. You
Right.
no longer have
Right.
like, there used to be sort of a gap there, and now it's become more
Getting better.
convincing.
Man.
Yeah.
You know, this is horrible. I'm going to admit this on camera. I often think I could have been the best scammer. Like, I see those and I'm like, I would have written this totally differently. I would have been so good at scamming.
Well,
You know?
in some ways, I've thought a lot about this actually. And in some ways, I think it's like almost like a bar that they set so that like really smart people don't fall for it,
Right.
because, you know, you kind of don't want.
Oh my gosh, you think you're saying they're playing four-dimensional chess. They don't want you to be too smart.
Yes.
They want to exclude you from the, oh my
Yeah.
God. I've been scammed. It's the long scam. Wow.
Yeah, if you're too smart, you'll
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
That's
you won't.
right. No. We don't want to go after you. We want you to know so you avoid this because
Yes.
you can retaliate.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That's awful. Man. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Man, that just blew my mind. Thank you for that.
But like AI has such a power for good too. Like we can't
Oh, yeah.
we can't not focus on that. It's a transformative technology.
Yes.
And my entire career has been spent at the sort of crossroads of innovation, and you know, I work in the higher education sector, so innovation and how these technologies could be used for good. One of the coolest things I've done in my career is I can't go into too big details, but I was able to, you know, with a team, create a machine learning model a couple of years ago that actually took someone's voice and recreated it. And this person had like ALS, so it was like this, you know, they hadn't heard their own voice in a
Oh,
really
man.
long time.
Right.
And
That's
back then,
amazing.
like the
Yeah.
technology was very robotic, so machine learning
That's
can
lovely.
be used for
Yeah.
such good purposes. You know, AI, Gen AI, but we just have to keep in mind that when there's big data, when people's data is being used, that there's inherent risk in that,
Right.
and how we offset for that.
Sure. Oh, that's a great story. That's really cool. You ordered a green coffee beverage. What is this? Tell me
It's-
about that.
A matcha green latte thing. I like it. It's good. You should try it sometime. And I
Okay.
like it. Like, I like it because here it's less sweet. They don't
Yeah.
put a lot of sugar in it. Other
Yeah.
places you get this, it's very sweet.
There's a fine line. Like I have a latte, and it's delicious. Again, because I haven't had one in so long, it's like a real treat. But sometimes you want the sweetness to be just right, so you can taste the coffee. Because you know, I do appreciate that. Was there a moment for you when you like realized you like good coffee, or that you like? Because you know, like when I was a kid, I would drink like Maxwell House, and then at some point I went the whole distance. I ground my own beans, you know, got them to the right coarseness. I was doing pour overs. I read all the science behind it to make it as good as without the bitterness. Did you go through this journey, or you just get the caffeine in me?
I think I'm more the latter.
Okay, good, yeah.
Although I do have, you know, my husband finally took away my American coffee pot, and we have a nice latte sort of espresso maker
Oh, yeah,
now. So
yeah.
we've sort of, you know, I've graduated from the pot coffee, but I do actually have a love of Lavazza coffee. It's
Okay,
very
yeah.
popular
Yeah,
in
I know
Europe.
what you're talking
but
about. Mhm.
I find something and I'm very loyal to it, and I stick with it for years. So
That makes sense. Why have to branch out if you know you like it? No reason not to.
exactly.
Cool. I think I have one of those espresso machines. It's like the little Breville one, and yeah, they were a big part of my coffee addiction. I'd be like, yeah, it's 3 o'clock. I can do another espresso. I've already done 3 that day. Yeah, it was bad.
It's a good machine.
It really is.
I love it. It's like
Yeah.
you start to get into the ones that are really like temperature, and there's a science to coffee
Oh yeah,
making.
there is. With this, I got really into making cappuccinos, and I got really good at it, like steaming the milk, and I had the little stencils where you could put on the powdered sugar and have a little stencil, and they were wonderful. And see, this is the problem I had. This is why 6-7 months ago I was like, I gotta stop. There's too much coffee in my life.
I mean, you have to use the stencils though. Maybe
Yeah.
you can use that with other
Hot cocoa. I make hot
non-caffeine
cocoa. Yeah.
drinks.
Good thinking. I'll do that. Tell me about the AI Center of Excellence at your organization, and maybe for folks who don't know or don't have one or are interested, what is it and why is it valuable?
Yeah, so AICOE, it's an artificial intelligence center of excellence. And basically, what we do, what generally organizations like that in companies do is they are the bridge between a lot of different parties. So, IT security or cybersecurity, you have the business, and then you have IT, and you've also got, you know, all of these parties, legal, working together to kind of make sure that they're all sort of talking and we're all moving forward responsibly with innovation. It's also, I feel it can be a very good like knowledge building in an organization
Right.
because like it's not affiliated with a particular group, let's say, or
Right.
it doesn't have to be.
Or one
Although
line of business or a silo.
yeah. So it's kind of like, okay, we have this use case. How do we kind of create opportunities to make sure that we are acting the way not only the law says that we have to act, but kind of forward looking into what the law is going to be. Like I
Sure.
mentioned, the
Yeah.
Colorado AI law that's coming
Right.
out in 2026, and then sort of guiding the organization towards making sure that we're set up for success. But it's not just like this question comes up a lot when I'm talking about this, and people are like, well, these kind of governance bodies can stifle innovation.
Sure.
But actually, I think by having center of excellence at a company, it's really a good way to promote innovation, but promote it
Right.
responsibly.
Yeah.
So you're promoting education about doing it the right way, because really when
Right.
you're or the right way according to what the law is at that point. And when you're making a decision to build something, you can do it a way that's not going to get
Right.
you in legal peril, or
Sure.
you can do it in a way that will
Right.
get you
Yeah.
in legal
Yeah.
peril. So either way, you're going to be, innovating. So
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be happening one way or the other.
Yeah.
So might as well do it right.
Yeah.
I love that. All right, just two more questions for you. I know you've got your conference to get back to. It sounds awesome. You said Sam Altman's going to be there.
Yeah.
I say Altman. Altman?
I think it's
It's
Altman,
Altman.
but
It's Altman. I said it with a weird like Sam Altman. I don't know why I said it that way. That sounds exciting. I'm very jealous of that. But what do you think? You're probably hearing a lot of predictions from the conference, people forward thinking. What do you think the next 2 years look like in this space?
um,
And I know it's hard to predict. Like 2 years, that's an eternity, but
yeah, I mean, AI will never be less integrated than it is today in
can't
our
put the
daily
genie
life.
back in the bottle.
It's not going back.
Yep.
And I think we're going to have a lot of conversations about value creation, because it is
Yeah.
a very expensive technology, right? So how are we creating value with this technology, and how are we moving forward, sort of telling that story? Is it like pure efficiency gain, or is it a technology that is going to completely tangentially change, the way IT approaches, the way business approaches, the way marketing approaches. So I think the next 24 months is going to be really interesting. And I think we're going to see a lot of changes to how people learn, how people use and ingest information, how companies interact with consumers. It's going to be across the board.
Yeah. I can't wait. It's going to be an exciting time. All right, last question before I ask everyone this. If someone were trying to get into this space right now, they've just maybe graduated college, they're interested in AI, they're interested in governance and ethics, and they're just now starting their career here in 2025, what advice might you have for them?
I think all in all, I would say that, we need all the brains in the game. So it's a big party and everyone needs to be concerned about it. So I would say, if you're interested in it and you want to do it, get involved locally. There's organizations that are popping up in every city, Richmond has organizations like that that you can get involved in. And, be a vocal supporter of, innovation responsibly at your companies or the companies that you are working at. I think they're like AI is going to become sort of one of those existential threats for a lot of spaces, but it will also become an enabler. So kind of like in, when we did spreadsheets, and spreadsheets, were kind of invented and Excel sort of took on. It deleted a lot of jobs in accounting, but it created all of these jobs in data science. So think about the good of the technology and, play around, figure out how you can really influence what you're doing and make it better.
Love that. Well, thank you again for chatting with me. This has been awesome. First cup of coffee in many months. I'm glad I got to share it with you in this wonderful weather out here. It's been fantastic. Until next time, let's toast to knowledge and connection, one episode at a time.